There was a second exercise for you both, and it was with a different word because I'm very, very passionate about this different word, and the word is community. So if I were to ask you, describe the word community with a few words, which are the first three words that come to you? Adjectives that you would associate community with?
Warm. It is also energetic. It's like it has the right sound.
Synergized.
Yes, yes.
And what about you, Susan?
Well, about community, it's about engagement and connecting. Community is a sense of one where there's no, the idea is that it's not about the self, you know? So,
Well explained. Well explained. I wanted to challenge you a little bit here because I wanted to do it unprepared to just really let you show what it feels like. Because when people talk about company culture, it feels kind of cold. But when we say community, and the reason is because of all the buzz in the digital space about how great our cultures have to be. So employees and people who are working in our organizations and not responsible for the company culture, well, they're more like, it feels like the organization is doing something to set it up so that we're happy. But when we say community, everyone takes responsibility. And I often say that the future is about team communities. It's not about microcultures, but about micro communities. Um, and this is my personal perception about it because throughout the years, obviously, I am a community builder and it's my passion. But also, I just witnessed how people talk about communities. And I heard the two of you before we began recording, during the recording, and in fact, Susan, just a few minutes before, I was like, hold on, let's do this now. And it's just this warmth, as you mentioned. I just saw that. I saw it coming from you. I saw it coming from her. I feel it coming from anyone that says the word community. So if we approach building our teams and cultures as a community, I feel that people are going to be so much more happy and, more importantly, responsible. Because then we can say, well, the organization is here, the community is the bridge. I mean the community builder and the community building effort is the bridge that connects everyone as a community. And so I would like to, with this podcast and with this conversation we're having, to start to share my feeling about the future of work, and that it has to do with employee communities and team members rather than employees.
Mhm. I really love your thoughts. Thank you so much for sharing them. And, I love how you say that the culture is usually cold in people's heads and this is something warm. Um, I really think that in building community, and you touched upon that it's kind of everybody's thing. You could have one person, you could have a very dedicated CEO, for example, or you could have, I am a community facilitator, as in my title. However, building community is not just one person, it requires everybody. And in that sense, I think what is really interesting is how in a digital space, because I think it goes back to belonging, it goes back to trust, it goes back to authenticity at the end of the day, how these qualities can be found on a digital space, for example. And, in our own example, I think it's a little special in the sense that, as you mentioned, Prezi has been around since 2019. And in our pre-pandemic years, we put a lot of effort into building these communities. and they were built not only on the professional side of things, which actually are, of course, we are a visual company, for example, that is one of our values, that we believe in visualization. However, it was also a way of behaviors, I think, that we kind of expect from each other. And it was also, this type of trust that was just there, that you are safe enough, for example, to say criticism. You are safe enough to challenge your manager even. And in the virtual space, it still goes on, because the colleagues who have been around, this is what they are representing. And I think this is, the key as well, this kind of continuity of the most important things that worked and we found in the live work together, that actually, if you can, you should really keep them. Not, of course, as much as you need to watch what doesn't work and change that, but what works and is there should remain there. Sorry, I went a little around things, but I managed to go back where I started from.
Yeah, and there's a train in San Francisco area taking a journey during this conversation. I absolutely enjoy speaking with you, both of you. Then I would like to ask about, again, company culture, because this is what everyone is dealing with right now. Oftentimes we have companies coming in and saying something is off with our culture, and we kind of have an idea what's going on, but it would be nice to speak to someone else about it. And how at Prezi do you make sure that you're thriving, because you are a thriving remote and hybrid organization? Is there any system in place that you have to make sure that this type of environment stays alive? I often say that in order for a community to thrive, there should be community heroes. Are there any role models, any tactics you're using to keep everyone engaged? I think it's also another buzzword, but the truth is everyone together in this musketeer kind of environment. This is the kind of vibe I'm getting from the both of you about Prezi. Tell me, what's the secret? Because everyone else wants to know that.
I wouldn't say it's so much of a secret. One of the things that I do feel like adds to it, we try to empower our managers who have teams to participate and engage with their own team at the most important level. These are the people where the rubber meets the road, and this is where they work together. They need to have a tight team. So we encourage people to have those opportunities to engage one another on an online setting. So yes, they do activities online, especially if the teams are scattered all over the place. And so like for the US, it happens at the earlier morning hours so that we can get people from the European teams, and they'll do like anything. And we have some amazing heroes who champion these opportunities and encourage it, and we foster it. Anytime that anyone within the company has a passion, oh, you want to do this? Would you like to do a class and teach other people? Like I'm sure other companies have done this, and we try to do it and remind people there are opportunities to engage other people and to see it's like, hey, within our company, we have other people who share the same interests. And from that level, we try to engage people to have a personal part in supporting each other and encouraging and inspiring each other. And it sounds kind of funny, but no, it really is. It's like, oh my gosh, so-and-so does bread making. We have some amazing bread makers, by the way. We have incredible musicians. And when they get together, they get to have a jam session. So these are the things that connect each other. And So, and we encourage that, and we tell people there are avenues for that. And our operations team, we provide a platform. It's like, if you need support, how do you need support? What do you need from us? Can we send things to your teams or send reminders or any little thing in order to support the managers, so that the managers know that they are not out on their own. So the managers feel empowered and have a support team as well to make change and be effective. So I'm sure that there are other things that I'm not thinking of, Adina.
Yeah, I really like what you're saying. What you're saying. I think I can only add to it just slightly. I think the word that I would add definitely is appreciation, and appreciate those efforts that go into this. So, I think it's very easy to see like bonus systems based on your actual work, what you achieve, and that's great that you are being, you know, like the role model how you do a certain thing in a certain period of time. And I think it's equally important to appreciate those who build the community well, because then if you create those stories about those people, then the others might see, oh, okay, first of all, is this expected of me? Second of all, if it's expected of me, how do I become better? And third, I think what's important, and here I think we work very closely with our HR team together, that you don't need to become someone else to achieve it. It's not about being an extrovert. A host doesn't need to be an extrovert. I think that's like a common misconception, that you only can build a community if you are the person with the microphone. A community is built on little things. For example, there was a communication in one of the all hands meetings in the middle of the pandemic coming from our CEO. Please, managers, take the time to ask your people how they are doing. You got the permission from a leader that you have time for this, and not only you have time for this, but please do it. And I think this is just one example. And yes, of course, there are moments when it is truly challenging to keep this community going in a digital space. I'm sure that everybody is feeling that yes, of course, sometimes people, no matter how amazing program you put together, they feel like this is just another hour in front of Zoom. There are those moments, of course. And I think that's why you need to very carefully monitor what's going on. You need to go beyond the work context. These past 2 years, I think, have proved that so many things are happening at the same time, and sometimes they add up. It could be like a certain colleague is affected in their personal lives. It could be that a certain thing happens in one of the countries where we operate, and we need to pay attention to it. Like they have a holiday that others don't have, for example, and so on. So I think the most you can do is to listen first, and then based on that actual understanding, listening, you can act on many levels.